final year, right? Beautiful. So if you're in final year and you do projects, there's a part of your project where you need to analyze. Data analysis part of your project, right? Good. How many of you pay people to do that? Final, do you have final year students here? Okay, what you're analyzing. But what's the least? 20,000. To like how much? It depends. Okay. But can it get to 200? Okay. So let's say that's a natural demand, right? Right? It's on the campus. So imagine what it's going to take you to learn SPSS and be able to do it for people. I'm not using SPS. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm trying to give you an example of what it means to find skill-based functions. Do you understand? Do you understand the point? So, how do you find skill-based functions around you? The second is find the ones that have global demand. For instance, digital skills. How many of you know digital skills? Graphics, there are graphics designers here, right? Video editors, social media managers, right? What else? Give me an example. Sorry? Huh? Digital marketing. Web design. What else? Huh? Virtual assisting. Yes. What else? Data science and data analytics. Data science is a bit complicated. Data analysis is way more. So the second thing is you can find these skills that are already in demand. Don't go and pick a skill that people don't know they need. Oh. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the hardest part of this thing is not value creation. The hardest part of this thing is it, when you think about making money, some of you think, oh, when I just learn the skill, it will be very easy, you understand? I learned the skill, I can actually be able to make money. That's the easy part. Do you understand? The easy part of it is what? Value creation. The harder part of it is value exchange. So now that you have the skill, who's going to pay you? Do you have any skill? You don't have? Sorry? Sorry? Graphics design. And so, do you do 100,000 every month? I know graphic designers that are doing 100,000 every month. I know some of them that are doing more than that every single month. So, why do you think you're not doing 100,000? Sorry? Growth and targeted audience. So this is exactly what I'm telling you. The harder part of everything is the value exchange. Do you understand? That's the harder part of everything. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about that in conclusion tomorrow because I want to tell you guys about purpose. I will still end with money. So, and this is very beautiful. Remember I told you guys that purpose is not, this my brother here said purpose is about an assignment, right? Right? But purpose, no, I'll come back to money, don't worry. Disconnect, so I'll come back to money. You see, the idea about purpose is, it's not a tax-based function. Do you know what a tax-based function is? Which is, your purpose now is to stand at this door. Genesis stand at the door. Stand. See why I say I like this height. It's almost the same height to the door. So, this is not what purpose feels like. Do you understand? You get. Come, let me show you what Genesis purpose feels like. Come, Genesis. So, what purpose feels like is that Genesis is seated here. Genesis sits here. You get. Genesis, read what's on that note. Just read it and see if you can memorize one or two things there. Maybe something you did not get what the person wrote. Have you gotten an idea? Oh, okay, Genesis. And now you can probably go back to your seat. And then, why Genesis is going back to his seat, I'm saying, Genesis, I have a problem with this door. People are fighting outside. I don't want them to enter. So what do, Genesis? You block the door, right? So purpose doesn't necessarily sound like a straight up thing that you do. It's a network of several things, you get. Whatever Genesis read there, do you think it's going to be valuable? Do you think it's going to be valuable to? Do you think it's going to be valuable to Genesis one way or the other when he's here? It wouldn't be, right? But what if I tell Genesis, Genesis, thank you so much for defending us. Genesis, can you do a 5 minutes teaching and talk about one thing that you have learned in the conference? Genesis, what's the first thing you remember? Do you have an idea of what was written there? Can you remember what you just read? Some of it. Do you think it's going to come as the first thing in your mind? No, right? Because you've been listening to this conference for a long time, right? But if you are not here, what's going to come to your mind? That particular thing, bah? And so the thing is that purpose is a network. It's a network of people, places, problems, and potential. It's a network of what? People, places, problems, and potential. What was Joseph's purpose? What was Joseph's purpose? In the Bible, Joseph in the Bible, what was his purpose? Huh? To what? To deliver Israel from the famine, right? Right? That was his purpose now. How did he do that? Huh? Saving 20% of the earning. Where did he learn it from? Yeah. He's what? No, go ahead. He's what? How did he get to a point where he was saving 20%? Who told him to save 20%? Who? Pharaoh told him to save 20%, right? When he was helping. So, but Pharaoh told him to save 20%. How did he meet Pharaoh? Interpreted a dream. How did he hear the dream? How did they know you interpreted dreams? You see, at the end of the day, you cannot just tell. Do you understand? That his purpose was what? A straight journey. Every single part of it, what? Mattered. So if you say your brother is not going to hate you, he won't get there. If you say, what's that woman again? Potiphar's wife is not going to backstab him or lie against him and whatever she did, he's not going to get there. Do you understand? If you say you are not going to meet, okay, let's say you go to jail, but you're not going to meet the butler. Do you understand that purpose is a network of people, of places, of problems and potential? So that is the biggest misconception when we think about purpose. Most of us try to see purpose in light of, oh, what's the one thing or what's the 2 things I need to do to fulfill purpose? I want to know, how many of you want to know your purpose? You get it, like, I want to know my purpose today. You see, the person you met some months ago that told you about some things that you are thinking about doing now, that's a part of your purpose. Some of you who are tired and you want to go home, this conference and this conversation here, you see all these things, they wouldn't look like they matter, right? Right? You know, let me tell you guys something funny. Do you remember the person I said I was doing a coaching with that became my client in my company? Do you know how I met the person? So, I was on Instagram one day. One of my mentors, Felado Toye was having an Instagram live. You know what IG live is? And there was a woman on the IG live. And, you know, I really love women. I work with a lot of women, but most times women have the way they address their things. The woman was talking about helping other women. So I wanted to live the life. Do you understand? I was like, now women and women, everything that has to do with women, they're talking about other women. You will never find them talking about every other person. So, but one man just said, just stay, finish it now, it's Fela's life. So I love Fela with all my heart. So I just sat down. Feladojo was asking her questions, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to give 4 people free coaching, so you can send a DM." I say, "Wait a minute. I have this confusion in my heart I need clarity to, and I love the way this woman sounded." And so what did I do? I sent her a DM. Wait, what if I never stayed in that life to the end? What happens? You see, the subtle nature of purpose is the reason why nobody fulfills it. Or better still, very few people fulfill it. It's very subtle. It's very subtle. Very subtle. Like, how do you know that what I'm about to say in the next 10 minutes is not what you have been waiting to hear all the last 10 years of your life? Now, there are 2 things that the consciousness of purpose, because I'm going to talk about it also. You see, the idea with purpose is that living a purposeful life means living in the consciousness that my meeting him is not a mistake. Do you understand? That somehow my meeting divine. Are you getting me? It's not a mistake. Do you understand? That as much as she's here holding this tab, there could be something about our being here together. Do you understand? But when you treat everybody in your life and everybody you meet as what? Not just one program. Not just Sunday church. You see that mindset? You see that mindset? That's how you will never enter purpose. Never. So living a purposeful life is consciously being careful of the people you meet. Do you understand? Do you know all the people working in my company? So, the person I'm married to, I met her for the first time in one of our meetings. We call it SGMs. You know those SPE stuff? I spoke at SPE, and then she heard about Septral Hub, and she joined one of the events we're doing. Now, I had no idea I was going to get married to her. It didn't matter. And then from there, she volunteered to organize one of the meetings that we're doing, and years later, we are married. You see the subtle part of this thing is, what if I didn't attend that SPE event? Because do you know what? I did not want to attend that day. I was having running stomach. I didn't want to. It was because of Bernice. Bernice is one of the people I used to mentor. It's because of Bernice. Bernice dragged me. Bernice is a very intentional person. Do you understand? So what if she had come, let's say I attended, but she refused to pay attention to the event or what I said about Septral Hub and did attend from there? Do you understand that you can draw the line to purpose? Let me talk about Daniel. I can go to Moses. I can go to Peter. I can go from biblical character to character. People are a fundamental part of purpose. People. I was looking for a house in Abuja, and I really needed the house. It was like I needed the house now. That kind of now. Do you understand? There was a friend of mine I stayed with in 2021, the first time that I went to Abuja. He's gate man. His name is Moses. Moses is a very nice guy. He's gate man, Moses. I gave him a box to keep for me and fix, and I collected his number. And I've had Moses' number for... I went through 166 applicants, everybody by name. I never knew I would be in Benin when I was choosing them, and never knew that some of the strongest people to organize this would be here. I was having a conversation with Sora on the phone. We were talking about careers and some other stuff. And I'm like, Sora, I'm coming to Benin, and I want to do this conference. Look at it and see what you can do about it. The entire possibility of this conference is this young lady on a one call that I did not, when I was telling her she doesn't know, I didn't think you were going to do it. I did not think she was going to do it. We were just gisting and talking. I was like, Sora, that's true. Help me work on this conference. Let me see what you can do about it. I did not know she would do it. If you are not living a purpose, intentional life, that's how some of you have walked out of purpose and now you're wondering where you are. People, problems. Like it, oh. Like it. All those wahala your mother is giving you, you don't understand. You don't understand where it's going to lead you to. You know, my younger brother died some years ago. My younger brother, he was like my only brother, and I loved him so much. I prayed, I fasted. He died of cancer, and I think I need that in mind. So we didn't know what cancer was there, and then in the peak of because God is not responsible for bad things, He's responsible for good things alone. Do you understand? Yes. He has a decision to kill and make people alive, but that's because life and death are His to power, you get. So, and I know the devil is a very messy person. I know I've seen it before. It's the devil that did that. And I looked at my life, I was like, you know what, I've lost one brother to death. First of all, I will not lose any member of my family again. One. Two, I will be so intentional with other people that you see that destiny of that small boy. You know, my younger brother used to tell me something when he was in the hospital. He would tell me, brother, I don't know why pastors, when they are building churches, everybody want to preach. He said, are we not supposed to have a church that the only thing they do is worship? He said, brother, when I grow, I'm going to build a church. No musical instrument in the world will not be there. This small boy of 13 years had dreams for God. Whether or not you see that as a bad situation in my lifetime, one of the things that sponsors my passion for God was that young boy's death. I became teenage president. I was preaching in teenage churches around Port Harcourt. As a matter of fact, few weeks after my brother's death, few months after my brother's death, that was when I started having the power of God manifest in my life. I'll be praying in meetings and people will be falling under the anointing. You don't understand. Problems have brought me into things. Problems. You know, my company does virtual assisting, and the reason why we do virtual assisting is because we had a problem. We were looking for salespeople and virtual assistants. We could not find. Most of the people that were applying were rubbish. They did not know anything. They did not understand anything. And so we said, let us do virtual assisting training and train the people that we are going to what? Employ. That was the biggest training of the company. Biggest. Over 10,000 students trained. One course. Everybody say problems. You need to have a different relationship with problems in your life. Different relationship. People, problems, places. You see, think about Joseph and then remove him from Egypt. Do you think he has a purpose again? Do you think he has a purpose again? Okay, think about Daniel, remove him from Babylon. Do you think he has a purpose again? There is nowhere anybody fulfills a purpose outside a place. Do you understand? Some of you are in Uniben here. You are not even conscious of the fact that you could have been in any university by coincidence, but somehow you're here. Somehow you're here. You are not conscious of that fact. You are not conscious of the fact that the job would have given you any department. Do you understand? But somehow they gave you what? The one you're in. And what you do is you keep giving excuses for all the things in your life instead of understanding that they are all pathways to what? To what? To purpose. To purpose. Potential. And this is where everything lies. What made Daniel great? His administrative capacity, right? Right? He had an understanding of things, but what makes Joseph great? Interpreting dream and his administrative capacity, right? Moses, his ability to prophetic leadership and prophetic, right? So you see, purpose is one of the easiest things. You know, one of the things that I talk to God about, and I would round up here. A God that will create you for a reason and will keep your purpose far from you is a wicked God. Do you understand? Do you understand? How will I create you for a reason and I will now keep you far from why I created you? Is what? That God has to be wicked, because I don't know what he wants to achieve. Do you understand? What does he want to achieve? It's like you bought a fork in your house and you kept it in the toilet. To do what? Do you understand? To do what? Our God is a good God. You see how all of us, our face is different. We all have different what? Purposes. Intentionally created by God. Some of you, your own is to go on WhatsApp and post memes. God, how can I enter Nigeria? You don't understand. You have no understanding. You have no understanding. You could have been in Afghanistan, Iran, Somali, Congo. Come on. You see, the biggest deal about purpose is the consciousness of God's design. It's the consciousness of what? God's design. You guys don't understand what it means to be a purpose, to live a purpose-driven life. Look at me. I'm in front of the altar, I won't lie. I have never looked for money to do anything I'm supposed to do for the last 10 years of my life. Never. Never. You don't understand. Like, before I need it, it's there already. You know? I and my wife got a gen. We got a gen because we're trying to get solar ball. What we want to get is big, and then we don't have a budget for it. And we are like, okay, you know what? We already have a small solar system, so let's just get a gen. And then, my dad said he's sending another gen. I'm like, I have a gen, sir. And my dad is like, he has already bought the gen. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. He's going to send the gen. And then my dad sent the gen. And when the gen came, it was bigger than the one I bought. But the capacity of the gen was not obviously bigger than that one. I'm like, what do I do with this new gen? Do you understand? I did not know I was going to be needing a gen for an office. Because I did not know I was going to need an office yet. And now we are preparing to have an office for a company we are starting. And what do you need? Gen.